So you probably have the basics of security down, right? You've got your antivirus, maybe VPN, but what happens when you need to really level up? Today, we're going to untangle that whole alphabet soup of modern cybersecurity. You know, EDR, MDR, XDR, all of it, and show you what it actually takes to stay safe out there. And to really get why this stuff matters, let me tell you a quick story. It's a bit of a cautionary tale, really. It's about a huge security company, LastPass. And the whole thing started not with some crazy, sophisticated government hack, but in a place that's probably a little too familiar, just an employee's home computer. And yep, you guessed it. That personal computer was the one weak link. It had some old media server software that wasn't updated, and crucially, it didn't have any of the company's security tools on it. And just like that, from that one single point of entry, attackers got inside and pivoted right into the corporate network. It's just a brutal reminder that the old way of thinking, a strong wall around the office, is just completely broken. So if those old castle walls can't protect us anymore, what can? Well, it's time to meet the first line of modern defense, the detection and response family, or as I like to call them, the DR team. First up is EDR, which stands for Endpoint Detection and Response. Okay, so your classic antivirus, that's kind of like a security guard with a list of known bad guys. EDR, on the other hand, is like a detective. It's constantly watching every single endpoint. We're talking laptops, servers, even your company phone, and it's looking for any suspicious behavior. Now, if that LastPass employee's computer had an EDR solution, it would have started screaming the second that hacker tried to install malware. Okay, so EDR is great, but it generates a ton of alerts and data. And that's where the next member of the EDR team comes in, MDR. Think of it like hiring a virtual security team, a whole squad of human experts who are watching your EDR alerts 24/7. Their job is to cut through all that noise, figure out what's a real threat, and then tell your team exactly how to handle it. But look, there's always a trade-off, right? With MDR, the benefits are huge. You get that round-the-clock coverage, you get access to world-class analysts, and honestly, it's usually cheaper than building your own team from scratch. The downside? Well, an external team just isn't going to know your network as deeply as your own people, and that can sometimes mean they miss a subtle signal or raise a false alarm. It's a balance you have to think about. And that brings us to the final member of our DR team, XDR, for Extended Detection and Response. So if EDR is the detective on the beat, XDR is the intelligence analyst back at headquarters. What it does is pull data from everywhere, not just your laptops, but from your email, your cloud services, your whole network. Then it uses AI to connect all the dots, spotting those really complex attacks that any single tool would probably miss. Okay, so we've talked about our devices, but let's be real. Today, our most important data, our most critical apps, they don't just live on laptops anymore. They're in the cloud. And that, my friends, is a whole new frontier with a whole new set of challenges. And that right there is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Cloud environments are just vast. They're complex. They're always changing. It's not like a physical office where you can count the servers. The cloud can sprawl out in ways that make it incredibly hard to keep track of, let alone secure. The answer, in a word, visibility. And the tool for that job is something called a CNAPP. Now, don't worry about the name, Cloud Native Application Protection Platform. You don't need to remember it. Just remember what it does. It plugs into all your cloud services, your AWS, your Azure, your Google Cloud, and gives you one single unified dashboard. It's what we call a single pane of glass to see absolutely everything. And having this single view is honestly a game changer. A CNAPP doesn't just give you a list of your stuff. It shows you exactly where you're vulnerable. It automatically flags when something's configured wrong, it spots when a server is accidentally exposed to the internet, and it tracks who has access to what in real time. Basically, it finds the security holes before an attacker can, giving you a cloud map that's always up to date. We've talked about tools for devices and tools for the cloud, but now we have to talk about something bigger. We have to talk about the philosophy that holds all of modern security together. And this isn't just another product, it's a complete shift in how we think. This right here is the heart of it. Never trust, always verify. You see, the old way, we call it the castle and moat approach, it assumed that once you were inside the network walls, you were safe and could be trusted. Zero trust just throws that whole idea out the window. It starts from a totally different place. Assume your network has already been breached. Therefore, no user and no device can be trusted by default. So take a look at this. This is how a standard connection has worked for decades. And hey, don't worry about all the technical jargon here. The key thing to understand is that when you connect to, say, your bank, the bank's server proves its identity to you. But the trust is pretty much one way. Once you're connected, you're considered in. Okay, now look at this. This is the zero trust world. Here, it is a two-way street of verification every time. The server has to prove its identity to you, and your device has to prove its identity right back to the server. We call this mutual authentication. Every single connection requires proof from both sides, every single time. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Zero trust sounds huge, like this massive project. So where on earth do you even begin? Well, the answer starts with this number. And this might just be the single most important statistic in all of cybersecurity. That number, 99.99%, that is how effective multi-factor authentication, or MFA, is. Just by requiring a second form of verification, like a quick code from your phone, you block nearly all automated password attacks. It is, without a doubt, the single most effective security control you can possibly have. It's the absolute bedrock of any zero-trust strategy. All right, we have covered a ton of ground. We've met the DR team, we've explored the cloud frontier, and we've talked about the zero-trust philosophy. So now, let's pull it all together into a clear, simple, actionable plan. So if you walk away with anything today, let it be these three things. Seriously, start here. First, enforce MFA everywhere. We just saw why. It's your biggest, easiest security win. Second, scan all your email. It is still the #1 way attackers get in the door, so you've got to lock it down. And third, protect your endpoints. Get a modern EDR solution on every single company machine to act as that digital detective. These three steps, they are the foundation of modern security. And really, that's the question all of this boils down to. The question Zero Trust forces us all to ask. Is your security built on the hope that your walls are high enough? Or is it built on proof? It's a much tougher standard, for sure. But in the world we live in today, it's the only one that really works.